S90 brings the driver, the car, and the road together. It could be a winding coastal road, a long open highway, or your daily commute. The S90 allows you to customize your drive and experience the luxury of an intelligent sedan, where all systems work together in perfect harmony. I'm in Sweden to find out how the S90 feels on the road, and to talk with one of the engineers
firm up the suspension. The steering gives you a little bit more feel. The brake response changes and the engine response changes as well.
And then you have the eco mode?
That's right. It's the same driving dynamics as the comfort except for the energy saving. You start the engine and stop the engine differently.
So when I was driving the S90, I encountered a few different road conditions and was wondering if you can tell us, how does the S90 know to send power to whichever wheel needs it most?
The unit that handles it is a Borg-Warner Generation 5 system. It detects slip or loss of grip on each individual tire, and it detects that several hundred times per second, and then it sends it to the tire that needs it most. Another benefit has to do with engine placement. We really squeezed the front wheels towards the front as far as we could, and that also was possible due to the geometry of the suspension. That enabled this long, beautiful hood.
It is beautiful.
Then we also have air spring suspension in the rear, so no matter how much you load it up, the car will stay the same height. Every single thing that affects the driving experience has been tweaked and tuned to provide that luxury sedan experience.
So a lot of years of development that went into creating this beautiful car.
Yes, this is where we can do the very best car possible. It really has no limitations, and the systems that we have in the car allow us to make a car pretty much without compromise when it comes to vehicle dynamics.
When something is well made, it transcends being just an object and becomes a work of art. Matt Bean knows the value of craftsmanship and how that can transform the driving experience.
I think in an era where everything's made by machines and the human impact of design is oftentimes lost, having subtle elements of craftsmanship show that a product or an experience has that human touch.
So Matt, you've experienced a lot of luxury cars. What are some of the first things you notice about the craftsmanship of the new S90?
What I love about the S90 is that it's understated in all the right ways. So there's a Scandinavian heritage that you see in the design, the materials, how they fit with one another, but I think more importantly for the driving experience, everything is in its right place. So let's start, for example, with ignition. It's right here next to the driver. You're not fumbling for your keys. You don't have to find it tucked away underneath the steering wheel.
The 9-inch Sensus Connect touchscreen definitely is set up in a way to give you an easy experience.
Now that you can do a touchscreen like this, obviously you want to leverage it in any way possible. And what's great about it is it's the dominant element on the dash, and it can be contextual. So if you're on the nav screen, it provides you with your map. If you're on the audio screen, it provides you with everything you need to set the settings on the car. It's designed to be functional.
You can really see the time and dedication that went into the craftsmanship of this vehicle.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it starts with this beautiful leather surface on the top. It's not too reflective. It's going to mute the sun's colors. You've got the nice two-tone stitching and the contouring here. But the real showstopper in the car is the way that they've been able to actually pull off this three-dimensional linear walnut construction. Because you expect wood in a car of this caliber, but they've actually been able to pull this off through a combination of manufacturing techniques and craftsmanship, and I've never seen anything like it in the car.
This diamond pattern on the control knobs is echoed throughout the cabin.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, you've got it on the start-stop button down here, the drive mode, obviously on the air vents. You've got the wood echoed throughout, so it really brings the cabin together.
So the new S90 comes in two different trim levels, the Momentum and the Inscription level, which is what we're sitting in right now. And as you can see, all of these different details and the craftsmanship that goes into this vehicle just create the ultimate luxury experience.
Yeah, I mean, the ideal luxury car means that the more thought they put into making it, the less thought you're going to need to put into driving it.
Driver Alert Control uses a camera installed between the windshield and the interior rearview mirror, as well as a number of sensors and a processor to constantly monitor the distance between the car and the road markings. If Driver Alert Control determines that the driving behavior resembles that of a tired or inattentive driver, the system displays a warning sound and the message "Time for a break" appears in the display. The system activates at 40 miles per hour and stays active as long as the speed exceeds 37 miles per hour. Your Volvo has either a 2-zone or 4-zone climate system, so that the driver and each passenger can be as comfortable as possible. The system is controlled through the Sensus screen. You can use the icons across the bottom to control the temperature in all climate zones, adjust the airflow speed and defroster settings, control the seat heater and ventilation, heated windshield, and heated steering wheel if the vehicle is equipped with these options. In a 4-zone vehicle, the rear seat climate can be adjusted using the controls in the rear center console. If the vehicle has a 3rd row, the rear center console also controls that area. It's important to note that there is one fan in the vehicle, so if the rear passengers turn up the airflow speed, the front passengers will feel it as well. Even if the vents are closed, they will still hear the sound of the fan until the speed is lowered again. You can control the airflow speed in all rows through Sensus. You can also turn off the rear airflow temporarily for both the 2nd and 3rd row. The 3rd row works independently, but the fan only operates if the seatbelt buckle is fastened, or if you set the system to always on through Sensus. Go to Settings, Climate, 3rd row climate on at engine start. Another important tip is that if you're using remote start, it will always heat or cool the vehicle to 72 degrees using airflow level 3. When you enter the vehicle and turn the switch to the running position, it will go back to the climate settings from your previous drive. Using high or low will not heat or cool the vehicle any faster. And finally, once you're in the vehicle, be sure to use convenient voice commands to operate the system. Press the button on the steering wheel, wait for the beep, and then say a command such as "Set temperature to 70 degrees" or "Set fan to max."
There are certain cars that possess an intangible beauty. Their refined design, clean lines, and attention to detail make them stand out in a crowd. The S90 is that car, and automotive photographer D.W. Burnett knows what makes a car beautiful.
My whole life I've loved cars. I love driving cars, I love looking at cars, and I also love photography. When I see a car that catches my eye, it's really the proportions that stand out.
So DW, as an automotive photographer, you've looked at a lot of vehicles. What are some of the first things you notice about a car?
Well, I would say the first thing that I notice is whether a car has presence. A sports car should look fast. A luxury car should look powerful, refined.
This all-new S90 certainly does look powerful. How do you think they accomplish that?
It looks long and wide. One of the things that gives the length of this car that I really like to see is this straight line that goes from the front to the back. One thing that you'll notice is they've taken the license plate, which is usually on the trunk lid, and moved it down to the bumper, which really helps accentuate the wide stance of the car.
And at the same time, it has that long hood. Kind of takes us back to the cars of the 1920s, right?
It implies that there's power under the hood, which is what you would want to see in a luxury car. There is power, although it's interesting that they've gone to a 4-cylinder setup for all of the S90s. It's a dual supercharged and turbocharged engine.
Let's talk about some of the other features that make this a beautiful car.
This classic grille that they're using is directly related to the grille that you would see on what is my all-time favorite Volvo, the P1800 from the 1960s. Beautiful sports car, iconic design. One of the other things that stands out to me are these headlights.
These are the Thor's Hammer LED headlights.
When you see this car in your rearview mirror, you're going to know it's a Volvo.
This blonde interior certainly complements the muscle blue exterior. It gives it a really nice, light, warm, open, and airy feel, a Scandinavian feel.
Yeah, it's nice to see this light interior. A lot of times on, say, a German luxury car, you would have a very dark, moody interior. This is a nice departure from that.
Another unique feature are these side mirrors.
These side mirrors look nice. One of the reasons for that is because it's attached to the car on the door and not on the window frame. A lot of times you'll see it attached to the A-pillar, and there's two reasons they did that. One is to reduce wind resistance, and the other is to reduce blind spots.
This is just one more example of design and functionality coming together perfectly.
It's easy to photograph such a well-designed and beautiful car.